The prisoner used an iron hook to quietly latch onto the bolt outside the door. With a gentle pull, he opened the small window in the door. But just as he reached out to unlock the gate, a wounded officer suddenly burst inside. He locked the only exit behind him, then pulled out a first aid kit. The officer poured alcohol over his bleeding thigh. The prisoners inside the cell looked confused, but seeing the officer who escorted them now seriously injured, a dangerous idea began forming in their minds. Little did they know, a greater threat was closing in. At that moment, Sam was watching the officer through the gap in the door. He was waiting for the right moment to escape. Suddenly, the sound of a chainsaw echoed from outside the prison van. While the officer checked the front cabin camera, Sam shoved the cell door open. He slammed the officer into a side compartment. Nick reacted just in time. He grabbed the door and pinned Sam down. Sam shoved the door wide open, ready to teach the cop a lesson. But in just a few seconds, the wounded Nick was thrown to the ground. Nick pulled out his gun, demanding to know if Sam was working with the attackers outside. Sam quickly denied it, saying he had no idea what was going on. Suddenly, the air inside the van filled with a strong chemical smell. A prisoner bent down and touched the floor, only to realize it was covered in gasoline. Before he could react, the fuel ignited instantly. Within seconds, the other cells caught fire. As Nick grabbed a fire extinguisher, Sam took the chance to unlock all the cells. Nick raised his gun, warning everyone to stay put. Suddenly, a voice came through the radio.
El policía que está con vosotros tiene la única llave que permite salir del furgón. Ah, su pistola. No tiene balas.
Nick froze when he heard the message. The prisoners immediately rushed him. They searched his body for the van's key. The cell block fell into chaos. No one noticed the key had dropped to the floor. Everyone shouted at the officer, demanding to know where the key was. Just then, a man watching from the side spotted it. But as he bent to pick it up, Jack struck him with the fire extinguisher, then used it again, killing him on the spot. Jack picked up the key and shouted for everyone to stop. He warned that no one was allowed to leave, because he knew who hijacked the van, and that stepping outside meant certain death. Suddenly, the radio came on again.
Te dije que nos volveríamos a encontrar. Si abrís la puerta, os podéis marchar. Solo he venido a por él.
All eyes turned to Jack to stop anyone from getting the key. He swallowed it. Nick also tried to calm the others, but someone grabbed the extinguisher and struck Jack. Nick and Jack were locked inside a cell. Meanwhile, the hijacker drove the van onto a frozen lake. He looked at the group inside and decided not to open the door. He wanted them all to die. The van slowly sank into the ice. Freezing water poured in. Everyone panicked. There was no key, and they were about to drown. Nick begged Sam to release him, saying there was an emergency exit in the van. But before Sam could unlock the gate, the van plunged deeper. The key fell into the water from the sudden jolt. At the last second, one of the prisoners managed to grab it, but the entire van was now submerged. Jack dove underwater and finally escaped the sinking van.